They said parry builds couldn't be strong. They said parry builds could never be flashy. They said parry builds could never go nuclear. They were wrong. That intro was actually fire. That intro is fire. I single-handedly proved that parry builds are insane. Now let's get into the breakdown before I... Never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Alright. First things first, starting with the weapon. It's nothing crazy, right? You can get this from a drop on the ground. In fact, I'm pretty sure everything I use in this build is from a drop on the ground. This one, right? Yeah. This is from a drop on the ground. I'm pretty sure. Think so. Yeah, it should be. But yeah, even if it's not, you just go get the weapon. This is not a weapon. This is not talking about hidden weapons. It's talking about a build. So like, if you'll figure it out. Whatever words. If it, I'm pretty sure it's a drop. Everybody probably has this up. I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So everything in this weapon is a drop. All the fused weapons. So it's gonna be this, this, and this. These two. And let me go ahead and explain the initial baseline, because there's a certain playstyle with this build that doesn't seem obvious at first. You would think, okay, so you're just parry spamming and dodge spamming. No, it's a bit more nuanced than that. So you see, as you can see here, you probably paused it, maybe read it, parrying and dashing. That's your main thing here, right? But you're gonna also be parrying and dashing into enemies. This build is not about being evasive and running away. It's actually the opposite. You're in everybody's face, you don't run, but you dodge and you parry, and you just stay there, right? Because you want to make use of this effect, which allows you to instantly freeze stuff, right? But you have to hit them. It's really good. It's really good, really overpowered, because freeze damage can hit up to like 30,000 on this build, and it's not even a freeze damage build. It doesn't really have any synergy there. I mean, it has some synergy, but not enough to say put it on the level of something like this. But that's another video. I already made that video. Go watch that if you want. And then last but not least, you got overwhelming butchering. It's really just there to give this build the nuclear factor. This is where you're gonna see that insane busted damage that you saw on those numbers on the screen. They're gonna come as a baseline from this, because this is when it triggers and it just makes everything go crazy, and you gotta take in account the weekend stacks. So really, if you want to abuse this, you got to be in it. Like I said, you got to be in enemies' faces. You don't run away. You're parrying, you're dodging, but you don't leave the presence of the enemy. You stay there. You stay in the risky zone. It's all about high risk and insane reward. and for that you get more damage build up, you get, you get crits and all that, blah 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 blah. And then let's get on to the ring. See, you're probably wondering, why is there poison? Why would there be poison in this? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't until you add up the parries and stuff. But yeah, don't worry about that, because I'm just gonna read it off. Starting off, you get festering wounds, right? From the Ring of Rot. Nothing crazy, nothing ridiculous. But this is where the weak link comes in, because that comes from Ring of Murder. That's going to pretty much allow you the ability to destroy groups of enemies. So within the first 10 seconds of a big battle, most enemies realistically will probably have the weakness mark, the weak link marked effect on them. So your AoE for the explosions, the ice stuff, everything is going to destroy them, because they're going to take a guaranteed crit. And as you know, crits in this build, based on what you read here, hold on, wait, I might do that. Based on this, is broken. Crits are disgustingly overpowered in this build. See that? Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if the 3 times actually is applied every single crit, or if it's just the three stacks of weakened. I can't speak sometimes. It's crazy. Anyway, doesn't matter. Now, on to the next thing. This is where the extreme explosive damage you saw, like that 30,000 pop off, it's in combination with the Runes of Chaos, or I call it Runes of Chaos for short, because Runes of Chaotic Elements, I'm not saying all that. Runes of Chaos, right? And you combine that with Panacea. Doesn't seem that good on the surface, but you got to take into account all these damage modifiers and percentage increase and crit increases and everything that's going to pile on and make the Panacea effect go berserk, especially when you get that poisoned, or not poisoned, especially when you get that freezing and that poisoned and the weakened, and they all explode at the same time. What ends up happening is they all pretty much, for whatever reason, I don't know why it works like this, they stack into the freezing, and so the freezing ends up coming out with nuclear damage in like the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, stuff like that. You'll see that. I think there was, in one of the clips, there was one of those, but I guarantee that it hit that, at the very least, even if it didn't show that in the clips. I hit that while I was testing this build, so like, it's possible. And now for the survivability portion. Now, normally, I never really want to talk about using this, the Northern Heart. It's not that good on paper. But with a build that's specifically focused on dodging and parrying and abusing things with nuclear crits that come from the fact that you dodged and you parried and you applied a status effect, blah, 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 right? This is insane, because it allows you to make mistakes, miss a parry here and there. Maybe you got hit in the back, you weren't paying attention. And more than likely, it's a good chance, not more than likely, it's only 40%, but it's a good chance that this hit is going to be absorbed, right? And then you have the insatiable hunger. I wouldn't recommend this build if you're still grinding for money like crazy and you really, really need it and you're not making hella bread yet because you're not that strong yet. But if you're past that point where you can, get away with using this, because it does, obviously, it takes your money. But yeah, if you're past that point, I would say use this, because this is actually insanely overpowered. It gives you regen, so you never have to worry about healing. It just doesn't matter. Like, your health will be back. It's gonna consume a bit of money, but that's the risk you have. That's the risks you're willing to take if you want to be the parry god. Like, what are we even talking about here? Like, the whole point of this build is to risk it for the biscuit and get insane value. Like, that's the point. So, like, it's okay having some survivability based on your money. If you're making good money, if you're killing things, it's gonna come back anyway. So, like, spend it. Now you get the next thing here. Don't worry about the minor augments. They're really not that important, because the way minor augments are unlocked, they're pretty much randomized, and I really hope the dev changes that. It's kind of silly, but I got the best RNG I could when I was making this, so this is quite nice. If you can get crit power even by 1, even +1 crit power is actually insane. Like 10% plus crit damage, disgusting, dastardly broken, bro. Like, yeah, if you can get that, put it on. And if you get something that's useless for your damage, don't bother. Yeah, just I would rather have nothing in my minor augments than, you know, something useless. But yeah, next thing obviously is gonna be this guy for your item. So it's gonna be these 3 things. If I didn't already point that out, I don't think I did, but whatever. This, and this. Well, these 2 combined into this. And that's where your major factor of never dying is going to come into play, because as you can see, every single time I take damage, I get 3 hearts, 3 temporary hearts, and the cooldown is really short, especially the higher level it is, the shorter it is. And even at like lower levels, this is still broken, because I mean, how often are you going to get hit if you're actively trying not to get hit? Like, really think about that. That's really good. And next thing is going to be this. I'll be honest, the necklace is really just a massive jack of all trades. There's nothing crazy about this necklace, except for the, you know, I guess the poison, you could say that's crazy, but poison stacks, the amount of poison you can get, I think caps out at 20, so it really doesn't matter that much. So this is not as good as you would think it is, but hey, it's something there. It's supplementary. Everything here with the necklace is entirely supplementary, because this build, there's no parry or dodge based necklace in the game that can help this build. Not really. So what you're gonna do with the necklace, how I built this, you're gonna set it up in a way it's like, it just supplements all the damage. You got your fire damage, or well, I don't know why that's on there. No, never mind. I take that back. You have your ice damage, and you have your infectious wounds. The fire damage is on there because it was either that or I picked this, and I'm not putting this on. Look, this build is already so broken, and the poison isn't really a major factor of the build to begin with. It's just a nice extra AoE damage, because you're gonna be attacking a lot of enemies very easily with this build, with the way you move around. So you'll be easily applying poison. So it's a good way to get some decent poison on enemies, right? Nothing crazy. But if you put this on, it could make the poison stronger, but not strong enough that it's worth risking poisoning yourself the entire time. Like, it's just not. It never is. I mean, I could show you, because this actually gets worse at higher levels, because you get a guaranteed poison stack onto you, and it's not really that good. Like, not even a guarantee. You get guaranteed 2, and if it triggers in the next 3 seconds, how much poison do you think just got stacked on you? And then you get hit, and the next thing you know, you're dead. Like, unless I would say put this on, combine this over Conjure, put that on over Conjure if you think you're really like that and you'll never get hit ever. Like, because you might end up getting hit a lot, and then you'll be dead, because you'll be, you know, all your health goes away immediately because you got poisoned. You had like 4 stacks of poison twice in a row. Like, don't do that to yourself. And lastly is going to be the tibia, right? This thing goes crazy. It's nuts, right? There's really nothing else that I would pair with this build except for this. Like, this goes with pretty much any offensive build that has nothing to do with grinding. If you're just going for all power, like, you want to get this for the temporary heart gain. You want to get the power within resistance, even if you're not using anything related to this. Because let me ask you something. If you were making this build, are you really trying to grind, or are you trying to have some nuclear fun like in Eclipse I just showed you? I think you're probably just trying to have some fun. You don't care about the money. I mean, you could replace power within with this, because there is no psychic in the build. But just know, you do apply weakened. You do have a way to apply weakened, and that is through Panacea. Or not Panacea, sorry. That is through Runes of Chaos. So you have the ability to apply weakened. And you might think every 7th hit isn't enough, but let me show you something. Every attack you do with this weapon is 2 hits. That's 1 click for 2 hits. My guy, you'll be doing 7 hits all the time. Like, it's nothing. So you're gonna be putting weakened on enemies. So realistically, it's either you go with lucky, or golden scarab for the lucky, or you just stick with power within, because you will have that weaken stack. It will be there. It's going to be there, you know, and it's gonna trigger some crazy numbers because the crit power increases based on the weaken stacks. So yeah, go crazy with that. Chrono Surge, you know, just for skill spam. And one of the main things I probably should have pointed out is using this skill, the 1 skill. That is gonna nuke bosses. That is where your nuclear damage is gonna come from. Why does it work like that? If I'm honest with you, I don't know. But it basically just causes everything to go crazy, and it just takes a boss that is at level 6 toughness and brings them to half health. And with the chrono build and all the cooldown and everything, you know, from minor energy flow, I think I'd showed that off, right? Pretty sure I showed that off. I didn't talk about it, but I don't think I have to. It's not much here to look at. But yeah, so with all that, you can do this a lot. So bosses are just instantly dead. And any super tanky enemy, like the tankier enemies, they don't have boss health. So what do you think happens to them once you start unleashing this? Like once you hit this on the enemy, bop, 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 they're probably dead unless they got really, really lucky and the RNG just didn't trigger any, you know, strong effects in that time, which it should, very much should. But yeah, that is the build, and yeah, it's insane. I'm gonna end the video now, like right now, like right now. Like the video is over, so you should subscribe and like and do other things that people do, like comment. Leave a comment and leave a suggestion. Actually, the reason I made this build is because somebody left a comment talking about a parry build that they wanted to do, and I was like, hey, I got you, bet. So like, you could leave a comment and let me know what kind of build you want to see. I'll see what I can cook up in the lab, you know. Game has potential. I just need to know what to cook. Okay, goodbye.